How do people think illegal immigrants are voting? I don't even get why an illegal immigrant would want to vote. Like if I was living illegally in Canada, worried about losing my livelihood if I got deported, voting would be the last thing on my mind. I'm a former poll worker. I checked and verified every voter identity and voter status. If there was any discrepancy in the system or their ID, I'd call City Hall and they'd correct it ASAP. There's no way an illegal immigrant could just walk in and grab a ballot, at least not in my precinct. No one has said this yet, so thought I'd add it. Illegal immigrants voting isn't completely untrue. Non-citizens can't vote in federal elections, and no state governments allow them to vote in statewide elections. But there are several local places in America where undocumented immigrants can vote. San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and Oakland are the cities where they can vote for local offices. There are some other towns where they can vote too, in Maryland. Source: https://www.verify this.com/article/news/verify/non-citizen-allow-vote-local-elections-some-municipalities/536-C6888578FEC6149499BHC514949BHC5149009385996. Another one, https://BLOTPEDIA.org/laws_permitting_non-citizens_to_the_United_States. There are a lot of places where non-citizens can vote locally, but they have to be legal, so they just assume it's true because their leaders and talking heads say so, and they don't believe they would lie to them. For the record, it is almost impossible to illegally vote in person. You have to sign the book and your signature is compared, or you have to show a photo ID. A duplicate voter would be instantly identified. As someone from Europe, I'm always baffled by opposition to obligatory IDs. I can't even vote and am a permanent citizen. My focus isn't even voting. Now, how in the right mind would someone undocumented, the main goal is to vote? Well, now not even the average citizen is worried about voting. Walk into the election location, show the driver's license that they were issued by the state, https://thehill.com/changing-america/respect/diversity-inclusion/5946117-16-states/allow-undocumented-migrants-to-cast a ballot for sheriff, mayor, school board, district attorney, tax collector, city controller, etc., etc., etc. You seem to have a mental picture of an illegal immigrant as some hobo with a kerchief on a stick. Reality is that most have homes, jobs, children in school, and are intelligent enough to care about who is running the society they are living in. So yes, illegal immigrants vote. People who are convinced about voter fraud are just ignorant. I've met them in real life. They have no idea how elections work, and I mean the actual process of registering and verifying signatures and how all of these is processed. I have worked many elections, so I can educate them, but they don't believe that is how it actually happens. They don't believe that voter records are cross-referenced with signatures and all of that. They think because it is so tedious that can't be how it is actually done. I have encouraged them to volunteer for an election so they can see it happen in real life, but that would involve effort, and to go around in life being that ignorant takes a level of laziness that won't allow them to put out the effort. The people who are voting twice are the idiots that take their invalid parents' mail-in and fill it out for them. There were a lot of Republicans arrested for doing so. They're not voting for federal offices or state offices, but they are being counted in the census, which affects legislative and congressional representation and electoral votes. That does matter. Do they think they are just walking up and saying they are someone else, and then the poll workers are like, sure thing, have a ballot? That would probably work in New Zealand until the real person shows up to vote. You don't need ID. They just look for you on the voter's roll and cross you off and give you a ballot. Well, Republicans never claim illegals are voting unless they lose. Curiously, illegals don't vote in the elections Republicans win thinking face. It is because it is a partial truth and it is designed to lure in the highly susceptible. In a local municipality, rules on voting are set there. In some local elections across the country, communities have voted to allow documented non-citizens to vote in their local elections. This is letting vetted and tax-paying legal residents vote in their local elections. Not national, i.e. U.S. representatives, U.S. senators, and POTUS, but local elections. That is a far cry from giving an asylum seeker from, say, Belize a voter registration card the second they set foot on U.S. soil. But when dealing with a highly partisan ignorant base, it is easy to take a truth and wrap it in a greater lie to promulgate a misleading and frankly disingenuous political message, because they are, at least in local elections, greater than federal law does not prohibit non-citizens, including those who are undocumented and not authorized to legally live or work in the U.S., from voting in local or state elections. While no states grant undocumented immigrants the right to vote in state elections, more than a dozen municipalities nationwide allow undocumented immigrants to vote in local elections. https://www.verifythis.com/article/news/verify/non-citizen-allow-vote-local-elections-some-municipalities/536 C6888578FEC6149495BHC5149009385996. It is illegal for non-citizens, including illegal immigrants, to vote in federal elections. However, some states have motor voter registration that automatically registers anyone receiving a driver's license to vote, and the only protection against non-citizens being added to the federal voter rolls is a question about citizenship when they get their driver's license. For instance, California, greater than state law requires each person to declare, under penalty of perjury, that they meet all voter eligibility requirements, including citizenship. https://www.sos.ca.gov/elections/california-motor-voter/frequently-asked-questions. If someone lies, they're registered. It's funny how no one actually addressed your question. When you register to vote by mail, states are not required to ask for proof of citizenship, so some states do not do this. Instead, you just sign a document where you claim you're a citizen and that's it. As a result, you could easily have non-citizens registered to vote, and then the poll workers would simply give the non-citizen a ballot because they're registered. People are being taken off the election rolls illegally, so I don't know where people are getting the idea people are illegally voting, when not only could it lead to deportation, but people who are enrolled are being hindered to vote. They believe what they want and will not take the time to check it out. They saw it on Facebook faced with tears of joy from personal first-hand experience as husband of an immigrant. When we lived in Chicago, the DMV, we went to try to register my wife to vote. They didn't ask her citizenship status. My ex was illegal until he got TACA. He had a valid stated in the name of some guy from TX that he'd bought the stolen information for and could have easily voted with it. BC, he was automatically registered to vote when he got the DL. He didn't vote, but only BC. He didn't care enough to vote.